2 lives are lost after a 7-story building under construction collapses in Victoria Island, Lagos. Security operatives apprehend a stowaway in a parked aircraft at the domestic terminal of the Muslim Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Nigeria's Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba Usman, lays fears of security threats ahead of the 2023 general elections. And at least 20 persons are dead and food aid destroyed after militants attacked several vehicles in Somalia's central Hiran region. Two lives have been lost to yet another collapsed building in Lagos. This time it's from the site of an uncompleted 7-story building undergoing construction at Obaidowoniru Street in Victoria Island. The State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Idris Salako, says the building had been sealed 3 times because the developer did not get the necessary planning permits and authorization to commence construction on the site. The state government has also ordered a manhunt for the developer. Our correspondent, Dari Dubu, has more.
A distress call from the building collapse scene in the dead of the night, the second in Lagos in the space of 2 weeks. Eyewitnesses told emergency management officials that 6 people who slept at the uncompleted building might be trapped at the 3rd floor. And that's the information these officials are banking on.
We discovered that the building has been sealed by the relevant government agency, which is Building Controlling Agency. Now, we gathered information that 6 people were trapped inside. We've not received any family's member, but however, there is a gentleman that I think is part of the people that are working in here that gave us information, and we are relying on that information.
There's a clear marking that reads sealed at the entrance of the site, but the resident who preferred to remain anonymous says work never stopped at the site, adding that he had even called the attention of a state agency to some infractions but got no feedback. One clear infraction we also noticed is no signage indicating name of contractors, engineers, or any other information to trace the developer.
Yes, truly the site information has to be displayed, but that is not within the purview of emergency responders. The supervisors and the coordinating agency supposed to take appropriate action on this lack of information, because that board is supposed to display a lot of information, the safety precautions on anything, but that is not within us. It's within the regulatory bodies. 3rd floor was where all of them are supposed to be located. So the 2 people that were recovered on that 3rd floor.
As emergency management officials continue to work at the building collapse scene, they received another distress call. Fire erupted at the 3-story building just 3 streets away from the building collapse site. Proximity of emergency workers at the scene saved the day, averting what could have been another disaster. Dari Idu, Channels Television News.
And from the nation's capital, 9 persons were killed earlier today in a fatal road crash along the Yangoji-Abaji Road. That's according to the Federal Road Safety Corps. A statement from the FRC spokesperson, Bisi Kazim, said 10 other persons were injured in the crash involving a Toyota Hiace bus and a Howo Sino truck, which occurred in the early hours of Sunday. According to Mr. Kazim, 20 people All male were involved in the crash, out of which 9 died, 10 were injured and 2 were given first aid treatment. The FRSC spokesman said the 9 corpses have been deposited at the morgue of the General Hospital Kwali, and a division of the Nigeria Police Force located at Kwali has taken over the investigation. Meanwhile, the acting Corps Marshal of the FRSC, Dauda Biu, says the crash was caused by dangerous overtaking and loss of control. According to him, crashes at night are more fatal than those in the daytime. To security now, troops of 1 division of the Nigerian army have killed 3 terrorists in Kaduna State as part of ongoing operations to clear the northwest of banditry and terrorism. The Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, who confirmed this in a statement today, said the bandits were neutralized along Sabon Birni, Dogundawa, Kuyelo and Farinruwa on Saturday. He says the dogged and highly motivated troops, while on a fighting patrol, came in contact with the unconfirmed number of bandits, and in the shootout that ensued, 3 of the terrorists were eliminated. The statement adds that 2 AK-47 rifles, 9 magazines, 120 rounds of special ammunition, 7 communication radios, among others, were recovered from the terrorists. Meanwhile, gunmen suspected to be kidnappers have abducted 32 travelers around Ifon and Ose local government areas of Ondo State. Those victims were said to be returning from a burial ceremony in Edo State on Saturday when the incident happened. The public relations officer of the Ondo State Police, Fumilayo Odulami, confirmed the incident to Channels Television in a telephone conversation. She, however, disclosed that one of the victims has been rescued and is now giving the police useful information about the incident. Staying with security, though, the president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Michael Olawale Cole, says the nation's commercial capital should receive special attention in terms of security, given its role in the Nigerian economy. Dr. Olawale Cole, who was speaking with Channels Television's Ladi Akedulale Current Affairs program Newsnight, says if need be, the nation should seek help to tackle its security challenges. According to him, Lagos deserves the special status because, if anything, affects the state, which hosts more than 60% of the nation's manufacturing sector, the nation will suffer even more dire economic consequences.
We have sent papers to government on insecurity a couple of times because of our desire to have a Nigeria that is peaceful. Because whatever happens in Northwest, Northeast, with one day at a point affect Lagos. Not necessarily in terms of invasion, but whatever is happening there will affect us. Because a lot of people have to now move from those states into Lagos and put a lot of pressure on Lagos resources. But now, Lagos are accommodating a lot of more people, and they are forced to now cater for a lot of more people than what we'll expect, because what is happening in all the other parts of the country. So the earlier we try to address those issues, the better for Nigeria, the better for Lagos. Whereas Lagos will be having more than enough share of the burden of Nigeria. Nothing must go wrong with Lagos, because Lagos is the heart of Nigeria. If the heart is in trouble, then the whole country the whole body is in trouble. So if Lagos economy is in trouble due to insecurity, then the whole country is as good as gone. And I pray that will be our portion as a nation. So we don't have to wait until they invade Lagos. We will start appealing to government to do all they need to do. I even got to a point I have to say, if it's becoming very obvious that we cannot handle this on our own, there's nothing wrong asking for help. It should get to that point. Because I have to say that at a point, our boss had got so worried. I said, if we are not able to keep our country safe, we should not, out of pride, that, oh, how can Nigeria go and appeal to come and help them, and now see ourselves become a failed nation? Nigeria is too big to be a failed nation. If we are 15 million, it will be okay. Over 200 million people, where do we go? Who will absorb us as a nation?
You can watch the full interview with Dr. Olawale Cole on Newsnight. It airs tomorrow, September 5th at 9 p.m. right here on Channels Television. To waterway security now, over 90% of accidents across the nation's waterways happen either at night or early in the morning. An analysis is coming from the Managing Director of the National Inland Waterways Authority, Mr. George Moalu. Mr. Moalu explains that the agency's task force team has been across the country to monitor activities at waterways and jetties and made a lot of discoveries during the process.
We have a rescue team, we have a task force across the country that monitors jetties, monitors our waterways and gives us report. But it's sad to know 90 to 95% of the accidents that happened on our waterway either happen late in the night or early in the morning. And the reason is simple. The vessels they are using have no night navigational aid. Simplicity. We have done everything to stop it. We have banned vessels moving from any jetty in Nigeria once it is 7 p.m. And you cannot take off from any jetty once it is not 6 a.m. in the morning. But people will now take their boats and look for a shoreline, any bank of river, and put their boat and sail. At times they don't carry life jackets. At times they wear expired life jackets. They don't even know that life jackets expire. Today, electronically, you can register boats. Boats have license plates now on them because we want to control it. We train boat operators, we beg them, we educate them. Don't go for, there are some jetties that we have shut down. There are some jetties that are not secure today, and we don't want passengers to go from there.
A middle-aged man looking unkept and unconscious has been found on a Park United Nigeria Airline aircraft during pre-flight inspection this morning at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport 2. The man is a stowaway, a person who hides on a ship or a plane to travel without paying or being seen. The suspected stowaway was arrested and taken in for interrogation. A statement by the airline says the aircraft last operated Abuja, Lagos at 7:30 p.m. on September 3rd, 2022, and was securely parked at the apron following post-flight inspection. It also says that FAN and Bike Ordnance Security Services have commenced investigation into the security breach at MMA2. The affected aircraft is being screened and prepared for service in accordance with United Nigeria Airlines strict security and operating standards. The development will result in rescheduling of some flights to accommodate the investigations. Staying with security, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has assured Nigerians and the international community there's no cause for alarm over security in the 2023 general elections. He says this is based on the robust security threat analysis carried out by the police with the use of global best standards for assessing the trend of expectations for the electioneering processes. The IGP made this known during a meeting with Todd Robinson, who is the Assistant Secretary, Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, U.S. Department of State, on the sidelines of the United Nations Chiefs of Police Summit in the U.S. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, says discussions during the meeting centered around enhancing support for the Nigeria Police Force in the area of training and capacity building of tactical units deployed in the Northeast and other conflict theaters across the country. Also discussed were the achievements of cascading the ongoing election security management training across the 6 geopolitical zones in preparation for the 2023 elections and support for police recruits training in modern policing. Meanwhile, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SAP, has asked President Muhammadu Buhari to withdraw the names of nominees recently submitted to the Senate for confirmation as resident electoral commissioners, or of INEC, allegedly being members of the APC. SAP says the president had on July 26 sent to the Senate the names of 19 recs for confirmation, and at least 4 of the 19 nominees allegedly either belong to a political party or have been previously indicted for corruption. In a letter by the rights group, the move runs foul of all extant laws and jeopardizes the independence of the electoral body. SERAP argues that withdrawing the names of those nominees alleged to be partisan or corrupt will promote public confidence in the appointment process, and it's a duty of government to preserve the institution to be impartial. In part two, after the break, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission files 11-count charge of corruption, forgery and stealing against the Speaker of the Ondo State House of Assembly. That's in a moment. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, to watch the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Tragedy hits again as 2 lives are lost after a 7-story building under construction collapses in Victoria Island, Lagos. Security operatives apprehend a stowaway in a parked aircraft at the domestic terminal of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Nigeria's Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba Usman, allays fears of security threats ahead of the 2023 general elections. And at least 20 persons are dead and food aid destroyed after militants attacked several vehicles in Somalia's central Hiran region. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission of the EFCC has filed an 11-count charge of conspiracy, forgery and stealing against the Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Olakunle Oluomo, and 3 others, and not the Ondo State House of Assembly Speaker, as previously mentioned. A charge was filed by the EFCC's Lagos Head of Legal Monitoring Unit, Rotimi Oyedepo, at the Federal High Court, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Channels Television's judiciary correspondent, Shola Shoyele, obtained a copy of the charge sheet dated and filed September 1st, 2022. The Commission says it intends to call at least 10 witnesses to testify and tender documents and exhibits. A source at the EFCC who did not want his name in print also confirmed to our correspondent that the Commission will follow up tomorrow, on Monday, with an application in Abeokuta for the case to be heard this week at the Federal High Court, Lagos, by the vacation judge. The EFCC had earlier released the Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly on bail. He is, however, expected to return to the Lagos office of the Commission tomorrow with other officials of the State House of Assembly, especially the clerk and accountant, for further questioning. And amidst the controversy over the Muslim ticket of the All Progressives Congress, the senator representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Smart Adeyemi, is proposing an amendment to Section 84, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act 2022 to stop political parties from nominating presidential and vice presidential candidates of the same religion. The lawmaker made this known during a news conference in Abuja while backing the choice of Senator Bola Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the APC. Senator Adeyemi adds that this clause, which is referred to as the Principal Act of the Electoral Act 2022, will serve as a guide for any oversight from political parties and eliminate religious crises during subsequent elections.
I propose, which I have told the leadership, that we amend Section 84 of the Electoral Act 2022 by inserting a new subclause 13, that no political party shall nominate candidates of the same religion as presidential candidate or vice presidential candidate after this dispensation. Yes, after this dispensation. Because when an oversight is committed the first time, you don't allow it to occur the second time, so that it doesn't become a policy. That's our proposal. I am a Christian, and I know what I'm telling you, that the option available for Nigeria is that we amend electoral act for future elections so that we do not run into this issue of religion crisis again. When this is accommodated, it will serve as a guide against any oversight, as this in the future, occurrences will be deemed as silent policies which will be capable of bringing down the fabrics of our nation.
Politics now. The presidential candidate of the Accord Party, Professor Chris Imumoleng, is asking all presidential candidates contesting the 2023 elections to match words with actions by empowering the nation's youth ahead of the election. He was speaking in Abuja at an event to sensitize Nigerians on the need to register and collect their permanent voters' cards. Professor Imumoleng says this is the best time to empower youths who are idling away as a result of the indefinite strike action declared by the Academic Staff Union of Universities.
We have been able to, from January, been hugely involved in conscientizing for supporters to go out to register. Many of them have, and our mandate is to again remind them to collect their voters' card. Registration without collection of voters' card is null and void. So we need to complete the process. We have taken out effort to register, and this is the right time for us to collect. But beyond that, you can see one of the things we have also demonstrated here is that the candidacy of Professor Chris, myself, is one that is not going to be campaigning with promises. We'll be campaigning with solution. What we have done here is an empowerment project for farmers, where over 500,000 farmers in Nigeria will be supported before even February next year. Today we'll be giving over 200 to 400 people scholarship right here. As these are people that we don't know, they've applied and they will be getting that scholarship. This is an attestation to also further improve our resilience towards building education in Nigeria. Our education has suffered so much, and the only thing we can do now, as not being the president, is to keep seeing how we can support the people of Nigeria. That is one of the things we have demonstrated here today. And we keep doing more as the campaign season moves towards the election.
Segueing into more on the ASU strike, students are also adding their voices to the need for urgent resolution of the impasse. The newly elected president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Comrade Umar Farouk, says the body will soon be meeting with various parties towards finding solution to the crisis. He says students who are at the receiving end will do everything possible to ensure a quick resolution.
Very soon, in no distant time, that we are going to make sure we met with the leadership of ASU, we meet with the leadership with the federal government to make sure that Nigerian students with no distant time go back to their campuses. The Ministry of Education, we have a new president of NAS, and by God's grace, we are coming to discuss with you and the leadership of ASU so that we'll come to round table and discuss and make sure that ASU call back this long strike. And we are going to make sure that we protect our students, be it in polytechnic, monotechnics, colleges of education, and our tertiary institution, which is the university.
Crime now. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, have taken into custody a 53-year-old physically challenged man, Mr. Ehamruwan Emmanuel, for drug trafficking after he was arrested at the Muslim Mohammed International Airport. Mr. Ehamruwan was arrested on his way to Italy via Doha on a Qatar Airways flight when operatives found 5,000 tablets of tramadol in his luggage. Preliminary investigation reveals the suspect is a frequent traveler who often travels with lots of bags containing mainly food items, body creams, and drinks. Similarly, NDLEA operatives combed the Ala Forest in Akure North local government area of Ondo State for a drug lord. They arrested 8 suspected bandits terrorizing farmers in the area in the process. Some of the items recovered from them include 25 bags of cannabis sativa and assorted charms used in terrorizing farmers. Operatives of the NDLEA also made other arrests and seizures in Gombe, Sokoto, Niger, and Lagos states from persons attempting to distribute illicit substances of different categories and sizes. Air transport provides significant economic and social benefits, facilitating interstate travels, trade and commerce. The ability of the airline operators to, however, cash in on the suspension of train services is hampered by the absence of passengers who are staying away due to high cost of fares. The aviation industry in Nigeria has been facing several crises, and chief amongst them is the non-availability of aviation fuel, which has forced a hike in the prices of flight tickets. Our next report examines some of the issues militating against the operations of domestic airlines.
For a while, Nigeria's domestic air travel figures appeared to be on the rise as the country recovered from the COVID-19 pandemic. However, lately, the sector is suffering from several crises, which has led to the rise of flight tickets and consequently low passenger turnout. The rising cost of aviation fuel is greatly impacting on the cost of operations for airline operators, as flight schedule integrity can no longer be guaranteed. With aviation fuel costs jumping about 30% to levels around 96% higher than they were a year ago, according to data from the International Air Transport Association, IATA, the effects go beyond Nigeria. The impact is telling on passenger turnout.
As it is now, is that bad that we are even downsized? Because for us, more sales means more income. No sales, no income. That's just how it works.
Beyond aviation fuel, the issue of regulation and multiple charges is another challenge facing the industry. The consequence is increased cancellation of flights and long delays by the airline operators. Some of the passengers are not sure they can get to their destination at all.
If you need to take a flight from, say, somewhere like Kano, come to Abuja, you have to wait a very long time before you can connect to your final destination. That's one challenge. And another one is the daily increase in fares.
In a bid to address this issue, the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority met with airline operators in Abuja as the regulator reads the Riot Act to airline operators who are indebted to the agency.
AO members have collected over 19 billion naira and over $7.6 billion in TSC and CSC, which they have deliberately failed to remit the authority.
This position did not go down well with the operators.
We're one family. You need us as much as you need, we need you. If today we don't operate, none of you people will fly.
In addition to the aviation fuel crisis, runway closure, scarcity of foreign exchange for maintenance and multiple charges from aviation agencies are some of the issues bedeviling the sector. Domestic airlines have lost about 40% of their fleet since last year as the carriers find it increasingly difficult to access foreign exchange to buy spare parts and other consumables.
We have a lot of issues now grappling, trying to grind the aviation industry to a halt. One of them is aviation fuel, the price of aviation fuel and its availability. The second is foreign exchange. Everything about airline operation is in dollar, and the dollars have become scarce, not very easy to come by. Where you come by is a lot of money to be paid.
Airline operators are not the only ones feeling the pinch. Support services in the aviation chain are also affected.
Well, we have been doing very well, but just a question of some few weeks ago that things are trying to come down, but as usual, very soon it will pick up again.
Increment on airfare and the aviation, this affected the aviation industry. I know it's only when the aircraft come in with passengers that will smile home.
As the industry groans under the weight of these crises, the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport in the nation's capital is getting some facelift. However, the vandalization of some of the rail lines has led to the suspension of the operations of the Abuja light train service, which usually makes commuting to and fro the airport a lot more convenient for passengers.
Over 150 internally displaced persons in tertiary institutions taking refuge at the Christian Home for the Needy Uogwa, Edo State, have added their voices to the appeal for the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities to end the lingering strike action, as the hope of a brighter future is tied to education. Their plea comes as about 200 others who sat for the senior school certificate and JAMB examinations this year also passed the exams. Our correspondent, Jessica Oluboshere, reports.
Early afternoon, a time of leisure at the Christian Home for the Needy, Uogwa, Edo State, that many of the occupants keep busy. The camp's organizers are big on education, formal and informal.
If you put money aside, it will help us prepare for emergencies, true or false?
With the support of an international organization, a training in entrepreneurship is rounding off here.
If you are doing business, don't be frying your face. Also be friendly with others. Also be friendly with customers.
An arrangement where IDPs interested in dressmaking receive the requisite training has also been in place. It's produced at least one proud dressmaker.
The time I come here, I start learning sewing. I start going to school now. I can speak English. Even now, the sewing I am doing now, I sabi now. I sabi sew every boy, even boys and girls are sewing now.
Aside from the informal education, over 150 of the over 3,000 occupants of the camp, made up of IDPs and other needy Nigerians here, are in tertiary institutions. One of them has just graduated.
I studied nursing science, and then I'm a registered nurse now. So I look forward to government helping us. At the present now, I'm working at the health center, assisting the children, treating them. But I'm looking forward to the day I will be fully employed. I will still help my young ones that are coming up to be where I am today.
Hope also rises in the hearts of younger ones who recently sat and passed the senior school certificate and JAM examinations.
Right from primary 3 when I started, I read to SS3 and I wrote JAM. I scored 289 with 6 distinctions in WAEC, 2 credit, 1 pass. So I want to be a lawyer to defend the less privileged.
However, there's another group entertaining a tinge of despair.
We hope to graduate early and be useful to the society. But presently, the ASU strike has restrained us in school and at home. We have not been going forward, and our education has collapsed. And I appeal to federal government, and as soon as possible, the strike should be called off.
The coordinator of the camp, Solomon Folorunsho, is excited at the children's progress.
In the next few years, we're going to produce very many medical doctors, not 20, not 30, many lawyers, many engineers, and they are all very much eager to come back and serve Nigeria, to serve the world.
The achievements and daily living requirements, however, present weighty needs.
We have almost 200 that want to enter this year. If not for the ASU strike, they would have all been in school. By now, you see them scoring above 200 in their JAM, some scoring close to 300, and with the ones that were there before, we're having challenges. Paying their school fees, books, hostel accommodation. This is our major challenge, and we are really appealing to everybody that can do something.
The kitchen is another area the enormity of the challenge is clearly seen. The fires are hardly blazing, the pots and basins far from full.
If you look at the time now, it's just to 2. Children are not taking their breakfast. This is their breakfast. As you can see, if you look at the cooking pots and all, you see that only few have fire. We don't have firewood. We don't even have the food to use it to cook. Before now, we are cooking all. But now what we have is what we cook.
In spite of these conditions, there are shrieks of delight from cricketers in training.
This place alone is having over 250 cricketers as we speak. And this year, they came out for the first time to attend the state secondary school competition, and they did well.
The IDPs in this camp have succeeded in putting the darkest days behind them, drawing strength from within and outside. As they continue in steps towards a brighter future, the appeal remains that they are remembered and given the support capable of turning them not into just survivors, but contributors to national development. Jessica Olubuse, Channels Television News.
Yobe State Governor Mai Mala Buni has reiterated his administration's commitment to providing projects that will stimulate economic activities, enhance job opportunities and income generation to promote internally generated revenue. Governor Buni disclosed this in Yobe State at the commissioning of the 2.5 billion naira Gashua ultra-modern market.
Agriculture is the major preoccupation of Yobe residents, with trading in goods and services occupying the second position despite the absence of standard markets and lock-up shops. The administration of Mai Mala Buni as the executive governor of the state is aware of changing the narrative as he embarked on the construction of 5 ultra-modern markets across the state, with the foundation of the one in Geshua laid and completed in 12 months and now named after Ahmed Lawan, the president of the Senate.
The market is expected to stimulate increased economic activities that will enhance job opportunities and income generation for our people and promote internal generated revenue. This market is already registered as a limited liability company with a full-fledged board of directors. The day-to-day running of the market, who is to be headed by a general manager, to be supported by management staff.
The market is equipped with good road network that can facilitate free circulation, adequate conveniences, refuse domes, strategically located spacious parking area, administrative complex, central mosques for worship, security lights and surveillance facilities to ensure quick response to emergency all day round.
As the Emir of Badi applauds the government for matching words with actions, the president of the Senate, who commissioned the project, announced the empowerment of 200 million naira to 400 small and medium-scale traders in the Yobe North Senatorial District.
A lot of money has been spent in construction of this market. We are appealing to you, whoever that is going to be appointed as management of this market, we appeal and insist it should be a strong person. It's a person that knows the value of money.
As part of our appreciation of what you have done here for us, I want to announce here that the SAIL Foundation is going to make 200 million naira available to 400 traders and small businesses in this zone.
The residents are optimistic that when the other 4 ultra-modern markets under construction in the state are completed, more job opportunities will be created, which will increase the state's internally generated revenue.
Nature has endowed Nigeria with aquatic splendor, and this wealth base comes with marine wildlife, which is the country's contributor to foreign exchange. For well over a decade, the United States has relied on Nigeria for its seafood. Recently, officials from the United States came on a verification exercise to recertify Nigeria so as to continue to export. Nigeria was ranked excellent after the 3-day assessment of its harvesting operations. Our correspondent, Timothy Crown Aderibibe, has more.
For well over a decade, Nigeria has exported shrimps and other allied products caught in the aquatic wild to the United States and other countries across the ocean. To recertify Nigeria's compliance with global best practices in harvesting is a reason for this visit of these officials of the United States who are in Nigeria for a recertification exercise. Part of the lookout in this visit is to check if the right tools, otherwise called turtle excluded devices, are built according to specification. For the federal government, sailing this hurdle has an all-round benefit for the country, hence the investment of efforts and resources to seeing it work.
We are determined as a country to maintain our status as a state compliance country in order to sustain our access to the United States of America market and also enhance the perpetual well-being of our fisheries resources.
Stakeholders in industry are confident of meeting all conditions, having engaged excellence in all operations.
We're ready. This is actually what we do every time. Usually they visit every 3 years. The last visitation was in 2019, and we did very well. And we're sure we're going to do well because we've dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's.
The verification exercise, although done on 5 exporting companies, but the country has a lot at stake.
What is being certified is Nigeria exports. A failure of one company is a failure of the country. So that's why all of us as a team, we are trying to ensure that no one fails. So if one company fails, everybody has failed.
It sure warms the heart to know that Nigeria is adjudged to have some of the best seafoods in the world.
Whenever we visit the seafood in Brussels, we're told most of the customers we meet, they say Nigeria has the best shrimps in the world. The problem we have is we don't have enough vessels to, carry out more exports. Aside from that, people want, to associate with us because our shrimps is one of the best in the world.
The 3-day exercise winds down. A result favors the country. While the economic benefit is important to the country, the protection and preservation of endangered species may even be much more. Timothy Crown, Adiribigbe, Channels Television News.
Beyond our shores now, delegates at the just concluded Afri-Caribbean Trade and Investments Forum Active 2022 have hailed the outcome of the event and practical steps adopted to integrate both regions for improved trade and investment relationship, amongst others. About 11 partnership agreements and MOUs were signed. Our correspondent Chris Lems reports from Bridgetown, Barbados.
Proof that Active 2022 was not just another talk shop are these deals, partnership agreements and MOUs being signed by various players in the business operating environment in Africa and the Caribbean, with Afrexim Bank extending multi-million-dollar facility for trade and investment promotion. Nigerian business community is not left out of the deals.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, one of the key aspects is that the African economies in general, particularly Nigeria, where I come from, has to generate foreign exchange, and the only way to do that is to export. And there are markets that do exist that have never really been tapped, because the Caribbean markets in general has always traded with North America, and there really needs to be, North as well as South America, a trade link between Africa and the Caribbean.
We've heard them talk about all of the things that needs to be done, but I think on the one hand, when you have heads of governments and regulatory agencies talk about that, it then falls on us as private sector people to take the opportunities and make it work. And I think a lot of us who have come here are very keen, very interested, and would be more than happy to continue to exploit these opportunities which have been presented to us.
With business and partnership deals sealed and signed, but awaiting deliveries, the ease of linkage between the two regions is paramount. A reason this session deals with improving logistics for the promotion of tourism, trade, telecommunication, and investment.
I would love to be able to pick up and say I'm going on a holiday and I'm coming to Nigeria. I'm going to Port Harcourt and I'm going to enjoy what Nigeria has to offer. Most people want to be able to have new experiences. I think that it's time for us to create those with Airlift.
But just to understand the global impact and what's going on in the Caribbean and tying it with the African diaspora and the experience between the two is amazing.
But we have always seen Africa as a region where we should expand into.
There are lessons to learn, opportunities to grab by the Nigerian travel and tourism sector which has left so much to be desired of late.
If the environment is created that trade is driven between the regions, we should be able to have investors looking at that area of maximizing their expansion, because within Africa there is a lot of airlines that will also be queuing. I mean, we came here via the Ethiopian airline.
So our governments need to wake up and realize that, listen, we cannot let this ship sail without us. The ship, trust me, is already sailing. So we really need to jump on the ship and make sure that, yes, we actually get a big portion of the big pie.
Thank you very much.
It's been a very, very active and impressive Africa-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum 2022 with bright and enticing prospects. With all the impediments and bottlenecks to the full reunion of both regions being sorted out, it won't be bad to start raising some glasses to the dawn of a new era. From Bridgetown in Barbados, Chris Alems, Channels Television News.
We head on to South Africa, where answers are still up in the air regarding the long delays being experienced by Nigerians applying to go to the country for various reasons. The official reason given by South Africa's Home Affairs Department is that there is a staff shortage, and the few available are dealing with a huge number of applications, which has resulted in a backlog. Nigeria is also on the list of countries to apply through the South African e-visa platform, but this too has recorded some backlog because of COVID-19 disruptions, according to the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Aaron Motsaladi. Our correspondent, Betty Dibia, has more.
Many Nigerian applicants have been waiting for South African visas for months after submission. Some even get a rejection after months of unexplained delays. From tourists to business to study applicants is the same frustrating wait, with money lost, dreams dashed, deadlines and events missed.
Nigeria is one of the countries that has been chosen for the issue of e-visa because of the number of applications from that. It's a huge country. The e-visa system has started. It was disturbed by COVID. Okay. Now that the COVID days are sort of has been, I can't say over, COVID is still there, but the restrictions have been very much put aside. We are hoping these things will move much faster.
Okay. Dr. Adejimi Adeniji, postdoctoral research fellow at the Tshwane University of Technology, says his personal intervention saved the dreams of a number of Nigerian researchers headed for Stellenbosch University in South Africa.
One of them just reached out to me and said, okay, doc, this is what is happening. So I asked her, how far about your visa application? And she was like, nothing. So they put on the visa February. And Dad asked them to be in the country by July 1st, otherwise they lose the hey. And I was like, no. So by June 14, if I'm not mistaken, I took the initiative, first time, to write the minister. That's Dr. Aaron
Motsaladi.
Yes, exactly.
According to Nigeria's High Commissioner to South Africa, Ambassador Mohammed Manta, the ratio of applicants Nigeria to South Africa is over 20-1. Despite the establishment and sitting of the Consular and Immigration Forum by both countries, not much difference has been made.
I'm not accusing South Africa, but I want to say that they do not feel the pinch as much as Nigerians when it comes to visa issues. And probably that explains the lackadaisical attitude we think the officials of the Nigerian South African missions in Abuja and Lagos are displaying. South Africa, as a country, has a regime of issuing diplomatic and official passports to all their public servants, which Nigeria doesn't have. And because of that, the issue of reciprocity cannot be strictly applied. And that is probably why Nigerians feel more of the pinch.
Hopefully things will change, as the picture hasn't been good. Answering questions from an opposition parliamentary tourism official, Minister Motsoaledi admitted that over 90,000 tourist visa applications were rejected by South African missions across the world for various reasons, and not just Nigerians were affected. This definitely has implications for the country's tourism industry, which is a major contributor to the GDP and is just recovering post-COVID-19 pandemic.
It's huge volumes, and the number of people we have got are fewer. And we are not about to get a large number of people from Treasury, because Treasury has frozen, in a way, the appointment of new people, except where they agree, like the issue I've mentioned this morning. So we then decided to go on an e-visa, that it will help us, because we are not about to get enough people to try and do that job.
Having understood the enormity of the problem of backlog in our visa, we have had discussions between ourselves and Home Affairs and the Department of Finance, and we're going to second some of our staff from tourism to the Department of Home Affairs to fast-track our visas so that the backlog is reduced significantly.
The worry for some is also that despite the backlog, more and more applications are still being accepted along with the fees. Hopefully what's being proposed will work, as many look to the authorities, especially on the Nigerian side, to ensure that its citizens would be done by, as it is doing the others. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
Reports say at least 20 people, including women and children, have been killed and food aid destroyed after militants attacked several vehicles in the Somalian region of Hiran. Al-Shabaab has taken responsibility for the attacks, and it was targeting a government-affiliated armed group. The Al-Qaeda-linked group controls much of southern and central Somalia, but has been able to extend its influence into areas controlled by the government, which is based in Mogadishu. The governor of Hiran, Ali Jait Osman, has accused the militants of being at war with the civilian population in the region and accused them of burning villages and destroying water wells. Tory leadership hopeful Liz Truss has promised to announce a plan to deal with soaring energy costs within a week if she becomes Prime Minister this Tuesday. She was making the promise in an interview with the BBC, offering no details, save that she would need time in office first in order to finalize exact proposals. She said action on energy bills will be vital for people and the economy, and that further support would need to go hand in hand with a plan to boost domestic energy supplies, arguing that the UK has become too dependent on international energy prices. Her rival, Rishi Sunak, says he would target further payments at the poorest. One of the two contenders will be announced as the next Tory leader on Monday and will replace Boris Johnson in Downing Street the next day. In other news, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia wants to destroy the normal life of every European city, especially where it cannot yet attack with missiles. We're speaking hours after Russia said its main gas pipeline to Europe would not reopen as planned. Europe accuses Russia of using its gas supplies to blackmail Europe amid the Ukraine conflict, which Moscow denies. Russian President Vladimir Putin's absence from the funeral of former USSR leader Mikhail Gorbachev is no surprise, as no love was lost between the two. President Putin blames Gorbachev for the collapse of the then Soviet Union. As much was said by a former minister, Councillor Economic and Trade Desk of the Nigerian Embassy in Moscow. In an interview on Diplomatic Channel, he said the collapse of the Soviet Union was inevitable because of the trajectory of independence currently going on within the Union. Mikhail Gorbachev, the last leader of the Soviet Union, died on Tuesday at the age of 91. He was buried on Saturday, September 3rd.
In reality, there was no way anyone, be it the late leader or any person, could stop the kind of changes or reform, because it was glacial for anybody to control, see change at the level of the political system, because these countries knew, they felt that something was holding them in terms of the regimentation, in terms of freedom, in terms of democracy. There was no way. So by the time the Georgia and the Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania felt it was enough. There was no way you could control such a thing. You can imagine, say, East Germany, that 1989. By the time they crossed from the east to West Berlin in Germany and the Berlin Wall fell, there was no way anybody could control that.
Nigerian sprinter Grace Nwokocha has been provisionally suspended by the Athletics Integrity Unit for the presence and use of prohibited substances. The banned substances found in her sample are ostarine and ligandrol, which violates Article 2.1 and 2.2 of the World Anti-Doping Code. Nwokocha anchored Nigeria to 4x100 meters gold at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham and also featured in the individual sprints. She'll be banned from participating in any athletics competition until a final decision at a hearing conducted under the World Athletics Anti-Doping Rules or the Integrity Code of Conduct. Manchester United has ended Arsenal's 5-game unbeaten run this season, beating the league leaders 3-1 at Old Trafford. Brazilian Antony got the opener for the Red Devils on the 35th minute. Bukayo Saka equalised on the 60th minute. A brace from Marcus Rashford took the game beyond the reach of the Gunners. Earlier, Brighton extended their superb start to the Premier League season with a 5-2 victory. They left bottom of the table Leicester in turmoil. Graham Potter's fourth-placed side made it 4 wins from their first 6 games thanks to a second-half surge at the Amex Stadium. And the main news again. 2 lives were lost today after a 7-story building that was under construction collapsed in the early hours of today in Victoria Island, Lagos. The state government, which says the structure had been sealed several times, has declared has ordered the arrest of the project developer for disregarding the planning laws of the state. Also today, we brought you a report that security operatives have arrested a stowaway caught in a parked aircraft at the domestic terminal of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. That's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Have a good night.